Hi everyone, it's Natalie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about some of the books that I've read not so recently. In this case, some of the books that I read in May. The first book I'm going to be talking about is The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Ahdieh. This is the sequel to The Wrath and the Dawn. So in the first book, we follow Sherzad, who is chosen to be the next Khalifa. But of course, since it's a retelling of the 1001 Nights, she is supposed to get murdered on her first night being the Khalifa, but instead she tells the Caliph stories every night to survive. And it's essentially this romance that develops between her and the Caliph, who is called Khalid. So I rated the sequel 3 stars. It wasn't that great. Honestly, it was kind of lukewarm. I enjoyed it, but at the same time, I have very little recollection of it, which, to be fair, I haven't been remembering most books that well recently. But in general, I still feel like this one could have been so much better. I really enjoyed the first book, but the second one just felt very convenient. All of the issues that had been built up in book 1 were resolved very conveniently in book 2. Although there were some plot twists that I liked, that did surprise me, ultimately, like, the big plot twist at the end was just predictable, and I knew it was coming, and it was just kind of meh. If I'm being honest, the best part of the book is honestly the relationship between Khalid and Sherzad. The two of them are really, really cute together. I really like their interactions, and it's just precious. They don't spend as much time together in this book, but I still found the yearning for one another to be so fucking wholesome, and so I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And I also enjoyed that there was a new side character that we met in this book. He was cool. Honestly, I felt like he was underused, and that was kind of my frustration with this book, that there were certain cool elements, but they just weren't used to their full capacity, and that just got annoying. Anyway, overall, I would still recommend this duology. I just would have lower expectations for the sequel. The next book I'm going to be talking about is Parker by Jack Harvin. In this book, we follow this young man named Trey. He just left an abusive relationship, and he's basically taken in by this woman and her son in order for him to avoid returning to this abusive partner that he just ran away from. And so essentially it's the romance that develops between him and the son of this woman. I rated this 4 stars. It was a really enjoyable book. Last year I read some Jack Harvin and enjoyed it, so I was like looking for something else of his to read. I found this one and I thought, I think this story is gonna work for me. So I would say that was a success. That was definitely a success. The story was like super predictable. Like, really absolutely nothing in this book surprised me. But honestly, I found that comforting while reading. Like, I knew exactly what was gonna come. I knew exactly what would be the drama. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. I want this to be this. So let's just enjoy the ride. And that's exactly what I did. It was enjoyable. Like, I really liked seeing Trey and Parker bond and help each other. Essentially, Parker has this issue where he thinks he should solve everyone's problems. He doesn't want anyone in his life that he cares about to struggle, and if he can help them with absolutely anything, he will. And so Trey starts to help him let go of that control, to allow others to help each other, to not always feel like he has to be the one helping people or everything will collapse, essentially. So that was great. And at the same time, it was great that Parker was there for Trey. Trey was in this very sensitive, delicate moment of his life, and Parker was there being patient and supportive so that he could come through it better than he had started, essentially. So yeah, overall, a very, very good time. If I had filmed this video on time, I would have more to say. but since my memory is non-existent at this point, that's everything I can say, honestly. The next book I'm going to be talking about is Volume 3 of The Way of the House Husband by Kosuke Onu. In this manga series, we follow this ex-yakuza who decides to leave the yakuza in order to become a house husband, and we basically follow his day-to-day mundane adventures as he tries to do his best as a house husband, but also keeps encountering people from his yakuza life who are either also trying to reform themselves or are trying to pull him back into the life of a yakuza. I rated this volume 4 stars. As always, as is now clear because I have taken so long to film recent reads videos, I fucking love this manga series. It's so fucking good. It is a delight. Almost every single volume just fills me with joy and happiness. And for that I am eternally grateful. And this volume was no different. Honestly, it was just so good. We had Masa being chaotic because he's still failing to learn the ways of a house husband. And then we have the introduction of one of my favorite side characters, who is Tori. She is an ex-yakuza, and she and Tatsu are so much alike, and I would just risk it all for them because the chaos energy is intense, but at the same time, I love that they're trying so hard to lead better lives and to just be happy with their new lives. So truly obsessed with them. I want her to be my wife. I want Tatsu to be my husband. They are both everything to me. They're everything. They're everything to me. And once again, this volume shows that Miku, who is Tatsu's husband, is just chaos energy hidden. Of that. I love that because on first impressions, Tatsu and Miku are so different, but then Miku shows like a tougher side, a kick-ass side, that I'm like, wow. An icon. I'm like, this is why Tatsu chose to marry you. He may not have known it, but it's why he did it. So 10 out of 10. Love this series. I know I didn't give this 5 stars, but still, spiritually in my heart, enjoyment, yes, love it, obsessed. The last book I'm going to be talking about is Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manansala. This is a cozy mystery in which we follow this woman called Leela. Is she an aspiring chef or something? She works at her family's restaurant. She has recently moved back to where her family lives, and she gets accused basically of poisoning her ex-boyfriend because he mysteriously and suddenly dies. And so we follow her as she tries to discover who really killed her ex-boyfriend and how she can prove her innocence. So I rated this 2.5 stars. It was not a time. It was not a time, honestly. There were elements here that I enjoyed. I truly enjoyed the family dynamics. Our protagonist is Filipina. Her Filipino family and her interactions with her family are fantastic. They're hilarious. They're great. I could totally imagine these situations with her family. I was like, this is delightful. And then the descriptions of food in here, phenomenal. Honestly, phenomenal. There were so many vegetarian friendly options they were talking about in here, and I was just upset that I could not eat it. I was like, please give me this food. I want to be fed this food, please. Thank you. That would make me very happy. But apart from that, this was kind of a dumpster fire for me. I think it's just that cozy mysteries are just not it for me. I just can't do it. I have the same problem with like Hallmark mysteries. Like, I love me a cheesy ass romance movie from Hallmark Channel. Live for that shit. But Hallmark mysteries, I can't do it. There's something that feels so ridiculous and absurd about them. There's just this extra level of pretense that I just can't get over. And that's the same issue I had with this book. everything was absurd. One, it was boring because we got our main character basically going through the same motion over and over again. She kept interviewing people to learn more information, and that just got repetitive. And then we had this whole thing where the detective, who is convinced she committed the crime, has no actual evidence to support this. Like, there's very obviously fabricated evidence against her, and other crimes start happening and he keeps thinking it's her even though she has clear alibis. And I'm like, bro, what's your thing against this woman? Like, calm the heck down, please. I'm like, it's not her. I'm like, it's very clearly not her. So calm down, sir. Just calm down. But no, so that was just absurd. And then the actual culprits were obvious from the start. From the very start. It was like they had neon signs almost, okay? Like, almost like they had neon signs. And even the one who's supposed to be the big surprise, I was like, I knew this precisely because you were trying to underplay his role in this story, okay? Because there was no other reason for him to be here except to be one of the culprits. So I'm like, you kind of revealed yourself. And I'm sure it's a kind of a spoiler to say that more than one person is responsible. But frankly, I don't care, because if you pick this up, you will also know who it is from the very beginning almost. So whatever. Would I still recommend this? I would say yes. If you enjoy the vibe of this kind of story, I would say yeah. Yeah, there's no reason not to. Like, I can understand why other people enjoy these kinds of books. It's just not for me. And it makes me sad because I really wanted to love this. I really wanted to want to continue the series because this is the first in a new series, but it's just not for me. It's just not. And the thing as well is that I feel like if this had been almost any other genre, contemporary, romance, a traditional mystery, it would have worked for me. But since it wasn't, it just fell into tropes that just don't do it for me. And I'm just gonna have to move on, I guess. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you would like to follow me on any of my social media, I will have the links to that down below in the description. But for now, see you next time.